Hi everybody, Gadgets and Wheels here with a review for you of the Aspire Nautilus tank. If we take it out of the box, you can see first of all that there's a small manual that comes with the unit that describes some of the maintenance of the tank and also how to fill it and how to use it as you'd expect. In addition to that, the box itself comes with the tank itself, a spare coil head which is 1.8 ohms here. There's already a 1.6 ohm one in the tank, and then you get the plinth adapter ring as well. So let's take the tank out of the box and have a little look at it. So it is made of stainless steel, so it's stainless steel top and bottom, and the center shaft is also stainless steel. The glass around the tank is made of Pyrex, so yes, you've got to be careful with it, make sure you don't hit it against anything, you don't want to be breaking it, but it is quite sturdy, and as I say, I've been using it now for about 24 hours and in that time I've had no problems. Maybe I'll do another review in about a month's time and see how I'm doing then with things like the sturdiness of the glass. So it's got a removable drip tip there, so you can add your own drip tip if you want to instead of the one that came with the unit. And this is the kind of main feature, I think, of the device, is this airflow ring here. So as you can see, it's smallest size there. Then if we move it up to its next size and then the next size, and there are 4 different gradations of air intake, as you can see here, and then finally the largest size, which is 1.8 millimeters. So it goes from 0.9 millimeters up to 1.8 millimeters, and that gives you, as I said earlier, the ability to draw the fluid in at the required amount you want, and also the air inflow that you take through there as well. And breaking the tank down is fairly straightforward. You just really screw off the base of the tank like this, and this gives you access to the filling chamber of the tank there, which you obviously will fill the juice down around the edge of that, avoiding this center steel chimney that's in there. The base of the tank includes the coil, which actually, if we just put the tank to one side for a second there, the coil is removable, so you simply take the coil out of the base. Now these coil heads are different for the Nautilus tank compared with other Aspire coil heads, so you need to be aware of that. If you're buying the tank, you need to buy different coil heads for the tank as well, specifically because this part at the top here carries the thread, which actually engages with the thread inside the chimney of the tank, and that's what locks the whole of the tank together. When the coil goes into the chimney like that and then into the base, that pulls the glass tank down onto this silicone ring here, which performs the sort of sealing function of the tank. Okay, so as I say, the coil removes from the base and goes back into the base as well, simply by screwing it in. It's got a kind of a bit of a knurled edge on there to make that a little bit easier. I don't over tighten that because it can be a little bit awkward actually if you over tighten it to get it back out again, so I don't really give it a lot of force. So then the tank itself, as I say, the drip tip is removable, and also you can remove the top of the tank. Now inside the top of the tank, you can see then we have the tank itself. There is a glass thread here, which you're going to have to be careful with that glass thread, because it is possible, I guess, if you're tightening it too much, that you could damage that. Now they've put the thread on the inside of there, which is more stronger than putting it on the outside, but even so, it still needs to be treated with care when you're replacing the top cap there, which has its own silicone seal inside, and that's about as much as I would tighten that one up, just so it's finger tight, and then the drip tip goes back in there. So that's the tank there now, ready to fill. So let's put some e-liquid in there. So once you're ready to fill the tank, you literally do this in the same way as you would imagine. You're just going to go down around the edge of the tank there. And I do recommend to fill this at least over halfway. It's a lot of juice actually. If you're filling this and you're going to be vaping with it, you've got to really commit yourself to the flavour of the juice in here, because it does last quite a while. You know, it's 5 millilitres of juice actually in this tank when it's at its capacity. So it is a much larger tank than many of the other tanks out there. And then literally when you've done that, you pop the coil head back into the little chimney there, and you begin to gently screw down the base of the tank back into the glass part. And once again, just as I mentioned at the top, without over tightening it, it will create this seal here. So we'll just sort of clean up any excess juice that's on there, and then the tank is ready to put back onto your mod and start vaping. So I've now got it attached to a Provari 2.5, and what I want to do is give it just a couple of minutes just to allow that juice to wick into the head, into the coil area there. So we'll give it just a couple of minutes and then we'll do a little bit of vaping on it. So the Aspire Nautilus tank really does have some decent qualities about it. I mean, it's manufactured in a way that you can tell is good quality. It comes in stainless steel with a Pyrex tank, which has actually, it appears to be slightly thicker Pyrex than some of the other tanks that I've seen. And from a vaping point of view, it has the adjustable airflow system, which means that you can use this ring at the bottom here to adjust the amount of air that is actually drawn into the unit. Now by doing that, you're doing two things effectively. You are creating less of a vacuum with a wider open space, therefore drawing in less liquid into the chamber where the coil actually heats the e-liquid and makes the vapor. With a tighter hole selected, you're actually doing the opposite to that. So you're actually allowing less air in, creating more of a vacuum in the chamber where the coil sits, and therefore you're actually introducing effectively more juice, more e-liquid onto the coil. Now this has created some problems in my testing of this. I've only been using this for about 24 hours, but I've used it quite a lot in that time. And already I've had some issues with too much fluid being present in the chamber where the vaporization takes place, which is sort of creating a gurgling effect and a gurgling sound. I've also found when the juice gets below a certain level, you get the same issue with the gurgling as well. So in my experience, my advice would be probably two things. One is to ensure that the juice is always above the halfway point on the tank to allow less airspace in the top of the tank here. And the second is, and I'll show this in a little bit more detail, is to be able to clear that chamber through in much the same way you've done with other tanks when they get too full and begin to flood, and obviously you get that gurgling. But let's just take a look at a vape. So at the minute, what am I on here? I'm on, I think this is a Provari. I don't know if you can see that, but I am actually on let's see, 3.8 at the moment. I don't know if you can see that or not, but actually 3.8 on the voltage on the Provari. And in this particular unit, I'm now using the 1.8 ohm coil. So let's give that a quick vape and see what it's like. So not a bad amount of vapor coming out of there. That's actually on the, what setting is that on? That is on the widest hole setting. So if you look down here, you can see that the hole is here, and that's the widest hole setting that you can actually set on the adjustable ring that's there as well. And again, pretty much the same amount of vapor. We'll go down now to the next hole, and when you actually adjust the ring on this, you hear a clicking noise, so you're actually sure that you've hit the right hole that you're looking for at the time. And the benefit of that, of course, is it doesn't sort of move around as long as you don't effectively try to move it around as you're using it. So now as you actually decrease the amount of airflow that's coming into the tank, you're actually increasing the amount of liquid that's being drawn into the tank. So you're getting more flavour and less of an airflow, it's more of a draw. And on the tightest hole, again, it's a tighter draw. You do get a little bit more flavour, but you are pulling more juice onto that coil. So effectively, if you're using that all the time, particularly when the tank begins to get low, you are likely to start getting a bit of a gurgling noise. So I am actually using it probably more on the third setting up rather than the full setting. Okay everyone, that's it for now for this review of the Aspire Nautilus tank. Hopefully you'll join me again next time for my review of the Provari 2.5. In the meantime, bye for now.